Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second journal of the year.
We have a hell of a show for you where we take a look at subcultures of skydiving and rap battles.
And on a different note, we take a look at college graduates who can't get jobs, crime in Scarborough, and the rebuilding of Regent Park.
Also, bed bugs.
Bed bugs?
Yeah, you'll see. Welcome to the journal.
Yo, 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 this is the journal. I'm coming to you straight from the journal. And I'm breaking it down.
What are you doing?
I'm rapping.
Rapping? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, the topic of our next story of the day.
Journal reporter Farbood Arabi has taken a look at the subculture of rap battling with interesting results. You know, results
You can stop now.
I thought it was...
Just, here's the story.
I thought it was pretty good.
No.
You know that I'm busting MCs raw. This battle's more unbalanced than us on a seesaw. He only stands on the Stairmaster to reach the snack cupboard.
What's up? My name is Kid Twist. This is my dorm room, and you're about to get the behind-the-scenes experience of my fabulous lifestyle. So this is it. As you can see, it's a standard res room. We have our kitchen, our private washroom, and a bedroom. And as you can see, even battle rap champions don't do their dishes. You know I'm a writing student, so I have a lot of books over here that I gotta read, and I have my computer, which is my lifeline for everything. And pretty much I do my homework here, I keep in touch with all the battle rappers from across the world here, and I listen to music, make my music, so this is where it all happens.
Oh, this fat man. He picks Ilmac up from school in his black van. You heard it right, I'm serving dykes. He loves the little boy virgin types, because they're the perfect height.
And your girlfriend!
Well, obviously going to university takes a lot of hard work, and so does battle rapping.
Yeah.
But with a person like you, how do you manage to put those both in your life and find the time to do them at the same time and be good at both of them?
Well, it's tough, man. It's all about balance. I mean, for instance, the jump-off finals happened right at the end of my semester, so I was trying to prepare for that at the same time as I was doing exams, as I was doing final essays, final projects for all my classes. So I was lucky enough that the schedule worked out where I could fly to New York for the weekend and not really miss out on anything too major for school. But it's always a balancing act. Like, I feel like if I had more time to prepare for those battles, we might have been able to pull a few more wins on Ilmac and Vasaurus. But, you know, then again, I wouldn't want to make battle rapping the main focus of my life. I think it's important to have something else going on, because even just being in school like feeds my creativity, right? Like you can't just sit around and think of dope lines all day. Like you have to have something else going on in your life that sort of like feeds your creativity, where you can get influences from, where you can draw other ideas from. So with my writing and my reading and all that stuff, it just feeds into my battling, and gives me more ideas of lines that I can come up with or references that I can make or whatever.
Let me do a quick impression of prolific. You know that I'm saying it bad, you know I'm coming through with the raps, and I'm rapping really fast, so the crowd can't tell that what I'm saying is whack.
So yeah, you're getting really big in Toronto bit by bit, and what are your plans for the future, as well as, you know, York University and battle rapping? What do you plan to do?
Well, I'm graduating from York University this year, so I'm going to have to find some kind of job to keep myself employed. As far as battle rapping, I mean, the sky's the limit right now. I'm not really sure where it's going to take me, but I'm definitely going to keep doing it, keep with it. You can look for me to be entering any local competitions that come up to keep my skills sharp. I'm definitely going to be doing some of the big national competitions too, maybe Scribble Jam this summer. I'll definitely jump off again next year, try and go for the title, And if Ilmac and Soros come back, we're definitely going to be trying to knock them off. Believe that.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, just keep my life moving, man. Like I said, it's all about a balancing act. Just trying to find a balance between my writing or my school and my rapping. So I'm just gonna try and keep both of those things going strong and see what happens.
I tried to live a decent life, but now I'll probably go to hell because I'm dissing Jesus Christ.
I like lots of Lil Wayne. Okay, thank you very much, Farbood. And we're standing here with Roti. He's a local rapper from the city of Toronto.
What's going on, Tim?
No, not much. I just want to get a little bit of background information. So where exactly did you grow up in the city?
I'm actually from Scarborough. Grew up in Markham and Eglinton. Right now I live in Malvern.
Malvern? Okay, so growing up in certain neighborhoods, did that sort of inspire you to rap about what you actually...
I think to a certain extent, because I've seen the struggle, especially being a son of immigrant parents. I've seen the struggle growing up, how it is to be an immigrant in the city, aspects of alcohol, drug use, stuff like that. Yeah, it's influenced me to a certain extent.
So do you try and portray more of a positive image, or are you sort of just playing up on like the stereotypical rap image of like the negativity and stuff like that?
No, I think I'm trying to be more of a positive influence on the youth right now, because I've lived a life and I know where it can get you and how you can get out of it, and I'm just trying to give a positive message to the youth out there.
Okay, so you're from the city of Scarborough, so do you do any sort of local shows in the area, or?
I've done probably hundreds of shows. I've done the CNE, Freddie Fame shows, Suba Lounge. I've been doing UFT shows, Humber. I've been all over the place.
What's the biggest show you've done so far?
I would have to say Wonderland.
Wonderland?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did the East Asian Festival there.
Oh, that's pretty big.
Thousands of people, man. Pretty scary, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you get the jitters?
Nah, I don't really get jitters. I'm up here right now, no jitters, no butterflies. It's what I love to do,
Okay, so, well, on that note, we're actually just going to get you to perform right now, so...
Cool.
All right, just take it away.
The song I'm about to perform, you can check it out, requested on Flow 93.5. As y'all know, I love my city. So this is a song from my city. Good morning, Toronto. It's your boy Roti, broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world. Ain't another place I'd rather be. Oh, y'all. Ain't another place I'd rather be. DJ Rick. Kitty long gold, sun shining through my window, JML's on, listening to the flow, good morning T.O. Another summer day, here we go, better get dressed and be on my way, but in my bed I'd rather stay, but hey, it's a brand new day, I'm trying to wake up, sipping coffee from my cup, flip a cigarette and here come the bus, slide my ticket in the slot, smile on my face, cause ain't no other place I'd rather be, all different races in a bus full of dreams, love for my queens and my dogs making cream, couldn't leave the city stressed from the yachty cess, the caravan and street fest, ain't no other place. In another place I'd rather rest, even though Friday be a fucking mess. Rush hour on the highway, welcome to a city tour done my way. Ain't another place I'd rather be. Ain't another place I'd rather be. Yep, all day. Ain't another place I'd rather be. City with its screw facing, label civic nation. You spending nights pacing, back and forth, paper chasing. Immigrants staying patient for the day they can't get it. Let them know we made it. Witness all the sights, big city and bright lights. The leaves, the way of life. The raps I'm watching when I like. No need to worry about tonight. Just you gotta party every night. Not a stress or a care. Feel the love we done that way. I hear the taxi right there. T.O. doing Rocky's only grail. Land to the cold, honey and home. Love my shorties looking good. East to west, loving every hood. From me to send them all to the old city hall. Toronto got it all. Watch my itty bitty kitties getting tall. Feeling really bitty pity, reaching for the stars. From my itty bitty city, let them know who we are. Yeah, you know I love my city, man. Roti, ain't another place I'd rather be. Yeah, Journal, Centennial. Yeah.
right, thanks a lot. That was actually really cool.
Thank you, Tim.
So what we're going to get into now is, actually, you're going to be performing later on the show, so let's stay tuned for that. And also right now, what we're going to do is Justin Hewitt actually went out to Regent Park to take a look at the rebuilding of it. It's a pretty hot topic right now, a lot of controversy. But what we're going to do is just throw to the story right now and see what he came up with. Here you go.
My name is Tim Severkles, and I'm the computer lab coordinator for Art Heart Community Art Center, and we've been here for over 16 years. We originally were called Home for Creative Opportunity, but we've changed our name to Art Heart when we moved into our new space here. Well, when I first heard the news of the redevelopment, I was quite excited, and although was somewhat pessimistic as to what would actually happen, and my fears have proven to be true. It started off as redevelopment, but now it seems to be something quite different is happening. Well, the positive ramifications are going to be that people that are on fixed incomes and limited incomes will be able to live together with people that do have a decent incomes, and you have mixed housing, which I think works really, really well. You don't have concentrated poverty like was here in the past. I think the negative consequences are that the amount of affordable housing in the area is actually going to drop. And that was not originally agreed to for the redevelopment, but now that's what's happening.
Well, it seems sort of a mixed bag, really. I mean, yes, the latest numbers show that there's not going to be nearly as many affordable units, and I think it could lead to that creeping thing known as gentrification. There is really a sense of community here. There's strong bonds. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see those remain, and I don't want to see people sort of shunted out of here.
Well, I thought it was a good idea, and that it needs to be developed because the land is very valuable, and the buildings are probably, outlived their life expectancy, and there needs to be change. One way what may happen is it just moves the sort of the drug dealing or the undesirable stuff. It moves it to other locations in the city, and this part of the city improves and cleans up.
Well, I thought it was a long time overdue. It's become a very bad place to live because it was almost like a market for drugs, and I think that the people that were living there were really feeling very depressed, having to live in those kind of conditions. And it just wasn't a plan that worked. Putting a lot of people with low incomes and living in poverty all in the same area, not having too much way of mentoring or life skills training and to be able to exist.
I thought it was a very good idea to have it done, and that's about it. Especially for this district, it'll be a very good development. they haven't been deceitful in any other way.
I think that in theory it's a good idea, but I think from the information that I've gathered recently, it's not such a good plan that's being initiated. When we first heard about the redevelopment, we were told the plans were going to include a mixture of rent geared to income and market value housing, and that it was going to be maintain the amount of rent geared to income in the neighborhood, and they were going to then add on top of that the market value. And as the plans have changed and evolved, it appears that there is now only going to be 30% rent geared to income homes, which is drastically down from what it was supposed to be. So when you're speaking about the impact that this might have on us, one of the reasons that we're in this location right now is because we decided to move 3 years ago. We rented out of the basement of a church a few blocks over, and we did some investigation to find out which buildings weren't going to be demolished. And this church that we rent out of the basement of is the only building in Regent Park that's not going to be torn down. There are a lot of other community organizations running out of some of the buildings in Regent Park, and at the beginning of the talks of redevelopment, we were told that there was going to be a really great big community center. I don't think it ever made it onto the plans, and from what I've heard from community meetings, as of yet, it's still not on the plans. So a lot of community organizations that really benefit this neighborhood are, as far as I know, are going to be homeless.
It'll be a beautiful park in behind us, and beautiful buildings above us, and it'll be good for business, for the community, and that's about all I can say.
Very hot topic indeed.
About our next story, you're familiar with the expression, don't let the bed bugs bite.
Yeah, of course, who isn't?
Well, our next story is actually about bed bugs.
Okay.
Well, you know bugs in a bed?
Yeah.
Not a fan of bugs, are you?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Okay, well, that's what you get for making fun of my rapping.
What?
I don't know, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Here's Kyle Lennon with a story about his wonderful little bed bugs.
They like clutter, and they're Toronto's best kept secret. Bed bugs. Two students described their experience.
Well, the problem was at the start was I was getting bitten, and I was really concerned about that. And so I went to the doctor and everything, didn't know what it was. And then as soon as I figured out what it was on the weekend. So I called my mom, and she decided to write a letter to the building. Well, first they yelled at us for not knowing that we had a problem, that there was actually bugs there. And then they went forth to schedule fumigations without talking to us about what time would be best for us, especially since it was nearing the end of the semester. So they did that three times. Yeah. I had bumps on in between my fingers and on my arm, and I just thought maybe it was stress. And then I talked to my dad about it, and we concluded that it must be stress and whatever, school just starting and everything. And then I just kept getting more and more and more, and I couldn't take it anymore. I had 3 prescriptions of creams. I don't even know what it's supposed to do to your skin.
I had to pack up all my stuff, and I happen to have a lot of stuff, so it would take a full day of taking all my stuff out, and that's like a full day of me not doing homework or studying for my exams. And then having to put it back and do my laundry and all that.
Yeah, it just costs a lot of money to buy new bed, new wardrobe, freezer, like everything for a new apartment.
People think it's because you have like a dirty living area, but it's not. So and most people don't even think there's such thing as bed bugs. They just thought it was like, you know, night, don't let the bed bugs bite. They're these little like a little bit smaller than your pinky nail, and they're like circular, really flat. That's why they can like hide behind things so easily, because they just like slide in between things.
Yeah.
And
Like
they're red,
boards.
and they're like really red when they've obviously eaten. They inject you with some sort of like like this, their saliva or whatever that makes you not feel it, and then with the other part they suck out the blood.
The building refused to comment.
Thank you. And our next story, hopefully you're not afraid of heights.
Yeah, the man sitting next to me actually decided to check out skydiving.
Have you ever gone skydiving before?
Nope, seems like a bit too much for me.
So what, are you afraid of heights?
No, I'm not really afraid of heights. It's more like falling from the sky at an uncontrollable speed with a chance of never getting back up again.
Ah, fair enough. All right, here's the story.
I'm here at the Parachuting School of Toronto to see what it takes to jump out of a plane and parachute. So let's go. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta do some training first. 3,000, 4,000.
Well, parachute jumping was likely invented by Da Vinci hundreds of years ago, but he never actually tried it, which is good because the parachute that he designed was built mostly out of wood and would probably have slowed the jumper down some, but probably would have done him some serious damage when it landed. Just about anybody who puts their mind to it can jump. Our minimum age for any jumper is 18, but there is no maximum age. Any obvious medical conditions that could compromise your safety can be an issue. If you're a narcoleptic, for example, you wouldn't want to fall asleep while you're jumping out of a plane, so I wouldn't really recommend that, but there's nothing that's not really obvious. It doesn't require a whole lot of athleticism. It's at least 90% a mental sport. It's overcoming your mental hurdles. The physical side of the sport is generally not that common.
I was kind of worried I would forget something. But like when he said ready, so I'd go like, okay, fine. And jumped out. And I was kind of like moving kind of awkwardly, but it's still good. Yeah, it's pretty cool. See for miles and miles. We're done here at the Parachute School of Toronto. I just jumped out of the plane a few minutes ago. I am still kind of overwhelmed from what I just did. It was kind of unreal when I was up there. Like when I was looking down the plane, it just looked like a picture. Like I wasn't even there. I was just watching a movie or something. Thanks for the Parachuting School of Toronto for having me here, and I had a lot of fun. So it was a successful day today. That's about it. Take it easy.
That right there, Tim, was a memorable experience.
We're going to get a bit more serious with our next story. It's a safe bet that the vast majority of us know what we want to do after graduating college. We know the kind of job we want.
But what if they can't find an opportunity? What happens if the money and resources put behind coming this far winds up going to waste?
After graduating, not everyone has to get a chance where they want to go. Journal reporter Julie Fish has the story of people who have just that problem. Here she is.
Today's workforce is becoming more competitive for young college graduates. Teenagers are sometimes advised to go into college and learn a specific skill, since skilled trades are supposedly so in demand. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
I was told that the trades were the best bet, to find a job afterwards, make lots of money, and you'd be set for life, and hey, I wanted to work with my hands, so I picked heating and air conditioning as the trade.
And what was your experience at school with teachers helping you out finding a job after?
They promised at the time when we first started the program, they promised that they'd help us with job placements, but it turned out that they didn't help us at all.
Were you talking to any other people in the field about any advice they've given you?
I went to George Brown College, my one buddy went to Humber, and he ended up going out west to Calgary where all the jobs were. And I just saw my Christmas sermon on, and he was telling me his advice was to go out west because they'll hire you, they don't care about your experience, they don't care about anything. The problem with that in life is A, I'd have to go and start off fresh out there, and B is that a lot of the places he started off were very unsafe. He had to do a lot of things that he quit because he didn't want to do them because they were forcing young kids who had no experience to do things that they didn't know how to do.
Some graduated students start off in the industry, but find it too competitive and find themselves stuck working in retail.
I went to Elmcrest College of Applied Health Sciences for aesthetics and cosmetology. Makeup artist is what I wanted to be. It's definitely a competitive job because there's so many people in the market to do it. Well, after I worked at the salon, I was in school at the time that they let me go. Sundays was the only day that I was able to work. And Sundays are, in the mall that I was working in, are actually the slowest day of the week. So it was hard for me to meet my sales goal, and they told me that because I wasn't meeting my sales goals, that they had to let me go. Ideally, I would love to work in the industry of aesthetics and cosmetology again. I think it would be a lot of fun, and it's something that I really love to do, and my friends tell me I'm good at it, so I'd definitely like to go back into the business.
Not every college graduate is unfortunate and have difficulties finding a job. Some graduates are lucky enough to find a job right away, sometimes even while they're still in school.
I went to the International Academy of Design for fashion design. When I was presenting my collection, for my graduate collection for school, to my teachers, we had counselors there, and they asked for my resume on the spot, and I was given a job the next week. I work with Pre-Loved, which is a Canadian-based label, and everything's manufactured in Canada. Actually, everyone gets a job at some point from the school. The school assists us in getting jobs, but some take longer than usual. Yeah, it's not easy to get a job in this line, especially if you want to be on your own. You got to learn a lot of stuff before you can be on your own, I'm still learning.
Guidance counselor at Centennial College, Joan Lee, has some advice for future graduates.
The thing about finding a job is that one has to be really patient, and you have to know that generally with the first resume you're not going to get a job. So the good thing is to make up your mind that you're going to have to do a lot of looking, you're going to have to send out a lot of resumes, and field placements or job placements here in the college or co-op placements, all of these things help because they give you actual experience. So if you're in a program that has a field placement, this is really key because this is really going to be great experience in helping you to find a job.
But I think that if you're good at what you do and you choose that you want to be in a trade, as long as you excel at it and it's something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy doing, that there's no reason why you can't succeed at it.
Thank you, Julie.
Up next, Andre Williamson has taken a look at some bad neighborhoods in Scarborough.
Just how big are the perceived problems there? Here's Andre with something to answer that question.
It is often heard in the news and in newspapers of areas such as Morningside and Finch, Galloway, and Jane and Finch are all bad areas to avoid. Although every time we hear from these residents, it's in the middle of a crisis.
So, just moved into Malvern recently, about a month ago. Basically, what I'm finding on experience coming into a new environment and an atmosphere is a huge change. What you hear normally in the media, or what that's being broadcasted from different forms of communication to the public, is more on a level basis of things that are happening between people, crime rate, and it's not so much so if you do a comparison as to Bayview area or a higher end area, more residential, you're hearing about fires and something that happens in a basement or a leaking pipe, and those are the kinds of stories that are covered there. But if you go to Malvern, it's more people versus people. For example, if you're going in a store and you're purchasing something, I've noticed that just the vibes that come off people, it's a lot more aggressive. You know, you're purchasing something at a store, going on the same example, you give the cashier money, no communication, no customer service, nothing is emphasized. These type of people, it's a negative feeling that they may have because it's always struggle and strife. One thing after another. You catch a break, and then from that break, there's always something that will come in between that will intercept. So you move off the path that you were trying to go on. Or, for example, the babies having babies, a whole category. Children that are so young, getting involved sexually, and they're children themselves, and they're having their own children at an age where they should be, based on the standard in society, they should be getting at school.
So I've been living in the Kingston, Lawrence, Galloway area for about 6 years. This is pretty much a low-income area based on the fact that the building that I live in is subsidized. There's people who hang out aside of basically, you know, there's a baker's dozen down the street from where I live, and they hang out there pretty much, you know, all day. You know, they could be working and supporting themselves or trying to be, you know, good people in the community. There's a beer and liquor store in this area too. There's an LCBO and a beer store. In the beer store, they have people hanging out pretty much, you know, asking for change just to buy a beer. It only makes perfect sense for the government because most people who are, you know, in a low income area are usually, you know, have habits like bad, you know, like physical habits, like they basically have to drink in order to you know, cope with their negative issues. I remember there was a big funeral here for a chief firefighter who died in a blaze, and he died on the job, and there was a huge media presence here. There was cars everywhere, fire trucks and stuff. Probably, you know, risked his life to help others. But that's like, you don't come in and look at, like, you know, the people who are in Alcoholics Anonymous trying to get better, or the people who are helping out in the community with the mentally disabled, the people who are helping out the elderly in the rec center. It's not that people want to see the bad stuff, it's just that's more relevant news. Like, no one like really cares about, you know, the positives that people do, really. Like, if they see negative things, it's more interesting, it's more appealing, right?
I've been living in Malvern for 19 years. Malvern is a good place to live. I've never really run into any problems while living here for 19 years. It's more along the lines of just people that have too much time on their hands and nothing else better to do. Like, we have a rec center where a lot of the kids go and play basketball and whatnot, and I went there to go play basketball too from time to time.
It appears that the residents in these areas have all had different opinions, yet one thing remains common. They believe that the media plays a big role in the identities of the neighborhoods, and that leads to them being perceived as bad. From Centennial College, this is Andre Williamson.
And that's our show this week on the Journal 2.0. Make sure to tune in next week when we get to see some bike messengers, steel bands, musicians, and theater. So wrapping up the show is Roti again, and take it away.
Got Nigel Woods up in the building. Yeah. I wanna be the one for you all the time. Lady, cast your fears aside. Come with me, we'll ride. Verbal love all through the night, lady. They say love is magic. You can live a whole life and never have it. I ain't bragging, but why you asking if I'm the real deal? Knowing how I feel, I'm melting in my boots. Had to spit the truth, so I took it to the booth. Something about you is so different. When you talk, I forget what I'm thinking. Not to mention, I was on the phone, got me thinking happy home. Up to the early morn, watching the sunrise. Hypnotized, staring at your eyes. Why you acting surprised? I ain't mean no harm. Love it when you wrapped in my arms. You the reason I'm rapping this song. I miss you when you're gone. This is more than the bond that we share. Nothing can compare. I need you like I need air. So no more stressing, baby, I'm here.
Hey baby, wanna know your name, wanna conversate with you, I wanna be the one for you all the time. Lady, cast your fears aside, come with me, we'll ride, verbal love all through the night, lady.
You ain't gotta talk, girl, you just gotta listen. Man on a mission, I'ma tell you what I'm thinking. My intuition got me switching, so no more on the run. In the streets or in the club, I'm in the sheets making love, waking neighbors up. So how you like that? Now picture me, and picture you. When we paint a perfect picture, boo. Even though love is blind, I can get you off my mind. Staring at your structure, 30 minutes at a time. This is getting scary, but you the girl I think I wanna marry. Will you take care of me when I'm old and gray? You love me till my dying days. I've been thinking about you all day, appreciating all your worth and how you make this work. You an angel sent to earth. I see a piece of heaven when you in that mini skirt.
Hey baby, wanna know your name, wanna conversate with you, I wanna be the one for you
all the time, baby.
Oh lady, cast your fears aside, come with me, we'll ride, verbal love all through the night, lady.
Yeah, Nigel Woods, Roti, know how we do. The Journal.